Picture this. You wake up, check your phone, and for the first time ever, you're not logging into platforms that track your every move. Your data isn't being harvested behind the scenes, and your content isn't buried by some unknown algorithm. Instead, you're in full control. Your digital identity lives in your own private wallet, your content is stored on a decentralized network, and the money you earn flows directly to you without being siphoned off by middlemen. There's no bank holding your funds hostage, no tech giant dictating what you can post, and no risk of waking up one day to find your account banned with no explanation. This is the world Web3 promises, a digital renaissance where users become owners, platforms become communities, and the internet becomes open once again. It's a world where artists sell their work as NFTs and get paid instantly, no galleries, no agents. Where developers build apps governed not by CEOs but by code and community votes. Where financial tools like lending, borrowing, and saving are available to anyone with an internet connection, no matter their geography or credit score. It's hard to believe, right? After all, we've gotten used to the current internet, Web2, where surveillance capitalism, censorship, and platform monopolies have become the norm. But as more people grow frustrated with the centralized control of the digital world, a revolution is quietly taking shape. It's driven by blockchain, fueled by smart contracts, and powered by millions of users who believe the internet should belong to the people, not the platforms. But what exactly is Web3? Is it truly the future of the internet, or just a passing trend fueled by hype and speculation? Can it actually fix the problems Web2 created, or will it introduce new ones we haven't thought of yet? In this deep dive, we'll explore the vision, the technology, the promise, and the pitfalls of Web3, and why it just might be the most important shift in the digital age since the invention of the internet itself. Web3, also known as the decentralized web, represents a fundamental rethinking of how the internet operates. At its core, Web3 leverages blockchain technology, smart contracts, and decentralized networks to replace centralized intermediaries. Unlike Web2 platforms such as Facebook, Google, or Amazon, which control user data, dictate platform rules, and reap the majority of economic benefits, Web3 aims to distribute power back to the users. It is a vision of the internet where applications are open source, data is owned by individuals, and transactions are trustless and transparent. To understand the significance of Web3, it's helpful to briefly examine how we arrived here. Web1, or the read-only internet of the 1990s and early 2000s, was characterized by static HTML pages. It allowed users to access information, but offered little interactivity. Then came Web2, the read-write era, where users could both consume and contribute content. This brought about the rise of social media platforms, blogs, streaming services, and e-commerce giants. However, the centralized nature of Web2 has also led to serious concerns. Data privacy violations, algorithmic manipulation, censorship, and the monopolization of digital services. Enter Web3. The hallmark of Web3 is decentralization. Instead of relying on a single authority or company, Web3 applications, often called dApps or decentralized applications, run on distributed blockchain networks like Ethereum, Solana, or Polkadot. These networks are maintained by thousands of nodes across the globe, making them more resilient, censorship-resistant, and less prone to single points of failure. By eliminating the middleman, users can interact directly with one another and with decentralized services, often through smart contracts, self-executing code that enforces agreements without intermediaries. Another key feature of Web3 is data ownership. In Web2, users trade their data for access to services, often without fully understanding how that data is being used or monetized. In contrast, Web3 puts data ownership back into the hands of individuals. With decentralized identity systems and blockchain wallets, users can authenticate themselves across platforms without relying on third-party logins or risking their personal information. They retain control over their data and can choose how and when to share it. Moreover, Web3 introduces the concept of token economies, where digital tokens, such as cryptocurrencies or NFTs, serve as units of value and governance within decentralized ecosystems. These tokens can represent ownership, access rights, voting power, or incentives. For example, a decentralized social media platform might reward users with tokens for creating quality content or moderating discussions. These tokens can then be traded, used to unlock features, or give users a say in platform governance. This creates new, more equitable economic models where value flows more directly to participants rather than platform owners. One of the most promising aspects of Web3 is its potential to reshape financial systems through decentralized finance, or DeFi. Traditional finance relies on centralized institutions like banks, which often involve high fees, limited access, and regulatory bottlenecks. DeFi protocols built on blockchains offer lending, borrowing, trading, and saving services without intermediaries. Users can earn interest, provide liquidity, or take out loans directly from decentralized platforms, all governed by code and transparent smart contracts. This opens up financial services to millions of people around the world who lack access to traditional banking. Web3 also enables the rise of DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations. DAOs are community-driven entities that operate without centralized leadership. Instead, decisions are made collectively through token-based voting. This model promotes transparency, reduces bureaucracy, and allows communities to self-govern. DAOs are being used to manage everything from investment funds to online communities, and even real-world organizations. They represent a new way of organizing people and resources in a decentralized, democratic manner. Despite its potential, Web3 is still in its infancy and faces significant challenges. Scalability is a major issue. Current blockchain networks often struggle with high fees and slow transaction times. While projects like Ethereum 2.0, Layer 2 solutions, and alternative blockchains are working to address this, mass adoption will require robust, user-friendly infrastructure. Usability is another hurdle. For the average user, setting up a crypto wallet, managing private keys, and interacting with decentralized platforms can be intimidating. To reach mainstream audiences, Web3 must become as intuitive and seamless as the current Web2 experience. Security is also a concern. While blockchain technology itself is generally secure, smart contract bugs, phishing attacks, and poorly designed dApps can expose users to risks. Regulatory uncertainty further complicates the landscape. Governments around the world are still figuring out how to regulate decentralized systems, which could impact everything from token classification to platform legality. Striking a balance between innovation and regulation will be crucial for Web3's long-term success. Moreover, there are philosophical debates around decentralization itself. Critics argue that some Web3 platforms are only nominally decentralized. For instance, if a small number of developers or investors hold the majority of governance tokens, they may still wield disproportionate control. Additionally, while decentralization can reduce censorship and promote freedom, it can also lead to challenges in moderating harmful or illegal content. These are complex issues that the Web3 community must grapple with as the ecosystem matures. Despite these obstacles, interest and investment in Web3 continue to grow. Major tech companies like Meta, formerly Facebook, Google, and Microsoft are exploring Web3 integrations. Venture capital is pouring into blockchain startups, NFT platforms, and DeFi protocols. At the same time, grassroots communities, open-source developers, and crypto enthusiasts are building the infrastructure and applications that will power the decentralized web. Education and awareness will play a key role in Web3 adoption. Just as Web2 took time to become mainstream, with the rise of broadband, smartphones, and social media, Web3 will require a learning curve. But the potential rewards are significant. A more equitable internet, where users have sovereignty over their data, participate in platform governance, and benefit financially from their contributions, is a powerful vision. Web3 also aligns with broader shifts in society that are already underway. In a world increasingly defined by digital interactions, people are becoming more aware and more cautious about how their personal information is collected, used, and monetized. Scandals involving massive data breaches, surveillance capitalism, and algorithmic manipulation have shaken public trust in big tech companies. More users are now seeking alternatives that prioritize privacy, transparency, and control over their digital footprint. This cultural awakening is creating fertile ground for Web3 to take root. At the same time, the rise of remote work, digital entrepreneurship, and creator economies has changed what people need from the internet. No longer are users just passive consumers of content. They are creators, builders, and collaborators. From freelance designers to TikTok influencers, and from indie game developers to online educators, there is a growing demand for tools that empower individuals to own their work, monetize it fairly, and operate without middlemen. Web3 technologies such as NFTs for digital ownership and blockchain wallets for direct payments offer precisely these capabilities. Consider the concept of digital identity in this context. In Web2, your online presence is fragmented across platforms. Your identity on Facebook doesn't translate to your identity on Twitter or YouTube. Worse, those platforms own the data and can ban or deplatform users at will. Web3 envisions a world where your decentralized identity is portable, secure, and entirely yours. You could sign into services using a cryptographic wallet, maintain reputations across platforms, and prove credentials or ownership without exposing personal data. This opens the door to new models of online interaction, where trust is embedded in the system, not dependent on centralized authorities. Web3 also reimagines ownership. In the Web2 era, content creators build audiences on platforms they don't own and often lose value to algorithms or monetization policies they can't control. In Web3, creators can mint their work as NFTs, sell directly to their audience, and receive royalties every time their content is resold. This not only offers a more sustainable income model, but also flips the power dynamic, putting creators in charge rather than platforms. Now extend this vision to economic coordination. With decentralized finance, DeFi, users can participate in a global financial system without needing permission from banks or governments. Microloans, yield farming, and permissionless savings accounts become possible, even in regions where traditional banking is inaccessible. With smart contracts, these transactions happen automatically, reducing friction and increasing global access to capital. Perhaps one of the most revolutionary aspects of Web3 is the emergence of decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs. These are internet-native communities governed by code and collective consensus rather than centralized leadership. DAOs can be used to manage projects, distribute funds, or make decisions transparently. Imagine a DAO that funds climate change initiatives, where each token holder votes on which environmental projects to support, or a global scientific research DAO that crowdsources innovation from researchers around the world and allocates resources based on community consensus. This isn't some distant utopia. It's already happening with DAOs like Gitcoin, Uniswap, and PleaserDAO. In a broader sense, Web3 has the potential to reshape governance, institutions, and communities. Rather than being confined by geography or existing political structures, people can form digital nations, self-organizing communities that operate by shared values and code. Citizenship, participation, and collaboration become fluid, inclusive, and transparent. Web3 doesn't just change how we use the internet. It challenges the very assumptions of how we organize society, who holds power, who creates value, and who benefits from it. Of course, this vision is still evolving. There are technical, ethical, and regulatory questions that must be addressed. But the foundations are being laid, and the momentum is growing. Every day, developers, creators, activists, and entrepreneurs are building the tools that could one day power a more open, inclusive, and equitable internet. In this new paradigm, individuals won't just browse the web, they'll own a piece of it. They won't just follow rules, they'll help write them. And they won't be at the mercy of algorithms. They'll have the tools to shape their digital destiny. That is the promise of Web3. And while the path forward may be complex, the potential rewards could redefine what it means to live and thrive in a connected world. Web3 represents a bold and ambitious reimagining of the internet. It seeks to address the shortcomings of Web2 by decentralizing power, restoring user control, and creating new economic models. While still early in its development, The principles of Web3 have the potential to create a more open, inclusive, and innovative digital landscape. Whether it becomes the dominant paradigm or remains a parallel ecosystem will depend on how it evolves, how challenges are addressed, and how well it serves the needs of real users. But one thing is clear: Web3 is not just a buzzword, it's a glimpse into the future of the internet. Thanks for tuning in to the NexCrypt, where we don't just talk crypto, we uncover its future. If you got value from this video, drop a like, leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for weekly deep dives into the world of Web3 and beyond. Until next time, stay curious, stay decentralized.